Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421 1250.
Hello, and welcome to our show, The American Veteran. I'm Dale Parrish, your host. Our co-host is Carl Fowler, and also sitting in with us today is Walter Scare. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Good morning.
Carl, you got something there I'd like to have you start out with.
Yeah, being as all three of us here belong to the Korean War Veterans Association, I'd like to read a little notice here. It says the Korean War Veterans Association is looking for a few good members. We hold our meetings the second Saturday of each month at 10 a.m. at the Eagles on Bluffton Road. If you served in the military anywhere during the Korean War or in Korea anytime after the war, you are eligible. So come on out and join the camaraderie and socialize with other veterans. Spouses and friends are welcome. Lunch is available after the meetings. We participate in parades, have memorial services at the Korean War Memorial on O'Day Road, have Thanksgiving and picnics with the Korean community. But more importantly, we have the Tell America program presented to the schools, plus many more activities. For more information, email us at americanveteran@frontier.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Sure.
A couple of programs back, I mentioned the Ambassador Peace Medal that the South Korean government is giving all veterans that served in Korea during the Korean War. That's from June 1950 until July of 1953. A little more information on it now. If you belong to any chapter, the commander will send the names in. That's all that's needed is just the names of the personnel. And if you're an individual that's requesting one, well, you have to send your DD-214, a copy of it, along with their name and address to the Korean consulate in Chicago.
One thing of it is to be eligible, they have to have boots on the ground in Korea, right?
Either that or the waters around
Adjacent.
Korea. Yeah,
Adjacent,
yeah,
yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing I wanted to mention that my wife and I was at a restaurant. It's been about a month ago, and we ordered our food, and afterwards the server came up and said, your meals have been paid for. And I said, well, what's this all about? And she said, well, this gentleman, he wants to remain anonymous, but he said to tell me that it was from one veteran to another. Thank you for your service. And I'd sure like to thank him personally, but if I ever see him or find out who it is, I will. But in the meantime, I'll just pass it on to some other veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Carl, you went into service?
Yes, I was drafted in March of 1951 and sent to Indianapolis, went through the induction center there, sent to Fort Custer, Michigan.
Okay.
got to Fort Custer, Michigan. It was after midnight. So we drew our bedding from the quartermaster with just sheets and pillowcases and so forth this way, and was assigned a barracks. Spent about 8 days there. We got shots. Of course, the buzz haircut that everybody gets, you know, and issued a uniform.
You feel naked after that haircut, don't you?
You are practically. They zip you as close as they can get you. But anyways, then after that we had close order drill, learned some marching and so forth this way, and saw a couple of war movies in the theater. They showed us, and that took up about our 8 days. They put us on a train, and we didn't know where it was going. There was a troop train right out of camp, and troop train took us south and went to St. Louis. And at St. Louis, it was supposed to go on a track and go south. They made a mistake, and they went west out of St. Louis instead. It went 150 miles where they discovered they was on the wrong track. So they had to turn the engine around, so forth this way, and come back the 150 miles to St. Louis, get back on the other track, and we went down south, then went through Texarkana, Texas, down to San Antonio, and sort of made a stop there at Lackland Air Force Base. The train evidently had some guys that were enlisted in the Air Force, and they dropped them off. And then from there we went west over to Del Rio, Texas, and up the Rio Grande to El Paso. Well, when we got to El Paso, it was early in the morning, and they just kept us on the car, just let us relax. Soon, about 6:30 in the morning, they offloaded us to trucks, took us into the camp, so forth this way, and that's where I took my basic training. My basic training, of course, is the same as everybody gets. I think that lasted 6 weeks, 6 or 8, I don't recall. Yeah. Then I went into advanced basic training, and they assigned me to artillery. And so we studied artillery on 90 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. Mm-hmm. Learned how to set them up, how to load them. So we never fired one, but we went through all the motions. You tow it in behind a truck, unhook it, put the arms down to stabilize it, and so forth, and swing the gun around, and so forth this way. Yeah. So we did a drill on the 90 millimeters. Well, then they sent me to a radio school where I learned Morse code and how to operate radios, so forth this way. That was about an 8-week training session, and after that they assigned me to a unit, and that unit then was not 90 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. It was an operations detachment.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, an operations detachment is one of these units where you have a big table, which is board. Now, you've probably seen them where they put little markers out to mark the plots of airplanes and so forth. Yeah. They come in by radio. You wear a headset, and you got a microphone here, and the radars are out located around, and they call in, and so you track whatever traffic is on this table. So I had that training, and so then after that, they put us on a troop train again, took us to L.A., and they were supposed to switch us from our troop train onto a passenger train, take us up to San Francisco. Well, we was running late. They actually had to hold that passenger train till we got there. And they hooked our cars onto it. We went up San Francisco, Camp Stoneman, and I was there about 5 days. and more just stuff to keep you busy. You know,
Yeah.
close order drill.
Yeah.
We saw some more war movies. By war movies, I say they show you first aid. They show you wounds that people get, so how to bandage them, stuff this way, and it's enough to scare you. So then they took us down to Navy Pier, put us on board ship. We went up the gangplank. They signed us to the area that we was supposed to sleep in and so forth this way, and we left. We didn't know where we was going again, just out. But we went as a unit. So our unit from Fort Bliss went out. We stayed as a unit. So our commanding officer, after we was out about 12 miles, called us out to the fantail. He opened the manila envelope that had been sealed, pulled it out and read the orders. And so we was going to Japan.
Okay.
Now up to that point, we'd sailed under the Golden Gate Bridge, headed out to sea, you know.
Yeah.
I had no idea where we were going, but it could have been Korea just as well as any place else, you know. Could have been Australia, as far as I knew. But anyways, we was going to Japan. So we got over to Yokohama and unloaded there, and they put us in a little compound. Wasn't very big, maybe like 2 blocks square. It was fenced in somewhere this way, and that was so they could get the equipment that we needed ready for us. And then they put us on board a train and took us north. We went up to northern Japan, an Air Force base up there. And our job then was to help defend this Air Force base against
Yeah.
incoming aircraft.
Yeah.
So I spent a year there.
Did you?
Yeah. And it was enjoyable in as much as I had a barracks, we had a mess hall, you know, all the amenities. They had a movie theater, but very seldom ever use it. Couldn't find the time. Had duties and so forth, and sometimes take us through the evenings and so on and so forth. But I became a radio sergeant there, doing much what he would do.
Yeah.
I'd doing those radio checks and the wire checks out to the gun batteries and so forth. And the gun batteries were placed out around this airfield. You'd have the 90 millimeter aircraft way out.
Sure.
They might be out
Sure.
2-3 miles.
Yeah. Sure.
In closer, then you might get into these Beaufort guns, the 40 millimeters.
Yeah.
And you come on in, you get into these quad 50s and so forth. So as you got closer, well, you got smaller and smaller arms, but the planes would be closer.
You say you went in March of '51?
Yes.
Okay. I beat you about a month.
Did you?
Yeah.
I got out in March of '53, so 2 years.
Yeah.
But that sort of made me mad too, because when I was drafted, I was only drafted for 21 months. I was extended for 3 months by our
Yeah.
so-called Congress or the government.
Yeah.
So I'd served 3 months when that happened. I'd served 3 months, and then they extended us 3 months. It's just like I'd spent 3 months in the military for nothing.
Yeah.
I still had 21 to go.
Yeah.
So that that didn't set too well with me, but you know, you face reality, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I had fairly easy accommodations when I was in the service, so I look back on it, and I was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very fortunate. Proud of what I'd done, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, because somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
And so,
I volunteered for 3 years. I was 18, and I thought, well, by the time I'm out, I'll probably be out before, if I'd have waited to be drafted, I'd probably be out before that. And still had 2 years to go, so I
okay.
volunteered.
Yeah.
But, went in up through Sheridan, And from there, I went right to Colorado to the outfit I joined.
Sure.
Took my basic there. That was only 6 weeks. And it was artillery that I joined.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Was that 155?
no, those were only 75s. They was just
Okay.
toys. They was their
75 millimeter cannon, sure.
yeah. But they're obsolete now. They don't
Yeah.
even use them for.
Back then, there was an anti-tank gun, right? Or
Yeah. Or
Plus
frontline
cannon.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I come home for furlough for a couple of weeks, and I went back, and everybody was gone. I thought, what in the world?
they were drafted.
said, No, my bunk was the only one made up. Everything else was rolled up, and I went over to the office. What do they call that? Where the captain is and first sergeant.
Headquarters.
Yeah. Anyway, I went over there and said, "What's going on?" He just handed me my papers. He says, "You're going to Korea." Everybody else had already been.
Did you thank him?
No, I don't believe I did.
You didn't thank him. Okay.
Anyway, I just next morning I just got in my car and went back home. They gave me 10 days to get out to Seattle.
We had to report out there.
Yeah,
Fort Lewis.
yeah.
Fort Lewis. Yeah.
I think it took us just 2 weeks to go from Seattle to Japan, and we stayed there just a few days. Give us M1s and took us out on the firing range and said, "No, you get them zeroed in." He says, "Your life's going to depend on them."
Exactly.
They
yeah.
took us back into the barracks and took our M1s away from us, and
Put them in the armory, right?
Yep. We went down to southern part of Japan. I forget the name of not Sasebo.
Itazuki?
I think so. Then he put us on a ferry and took us to Busan.
Yeah.
And we was in Busan a couple of days, and like Walter there, they put us on a train
Yep.
and went north.
You didn't know where you were going.
Didn't have no idea.
All you knew is that you were going, and
Not
Yeah.
scared, but apprehensive, you know.
yeah, you were,
Yeah.
you were in an area you just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where Busan when they took us to Busan. I didn't have no idea what part of the country that was, where
Yeah.
that geographically where that laid.
Yeah. But they, at the end of the train line, they put us on a truck, and there was about half a dozen of us, and they dropped us off here and there.
Yeah,
Dropped me off at the 780th Field Artillery. There they introduced me to a weapon that I'd never seen before. It was an 8-inch howitzer.
Oh my!
Yeah, and they weighed about 200 pounds, those projectiles.
The
Yeah.
shells, yeah.
Yeah. And that don't include the powder that goes in behind it, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that's in segments. They fired about 11 miles. It was very accurate at 11 miles. But I was with they assigned me to the Fire Direction Center. But anyway, the first night over there, that's when I was scared, I think, the most. They put me on guard at night.
Oh,
And it was a very bitter cold night. The snow was crunch, crunch, crunch every time you took a step, and you was afraid to make any noise.
Yeah, because you're advertising your position.
Yeah, you had no idea where you was, where the enemy was.
Right.
All you could think about is somebody sneaking up behind you and slitting your throat.
Yeah.
didn't they have didn't they have somebody from within your working group, your company, to stand guard at night? Didn't they do that?
Me?
Yeah.
That
I
was
see.
what he was doing.
That was
Yeah.
what you were doing.
Yeah, that was the only night I ever stood guard. Because
Oh, we had to take turns. I come think about it. We had to take turns, and there'd be. I'm trying to remember. There were 2 or 3 of us at a time. You'd stand around in different positions.
yeah. But in the Fire Direction Center, there was somebody there, 24 hours a day. So that's,
Officer of the day.
Yeah, sometimes
Sure.
you'd be in there at nights, and sometimes you'd be in there at days, so that eliminated us from standing guard. But my job in there was, was talking with the forward observer or the aerial observer,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. They'd give you coordinates of a target, whether it was tanks or for troops or a bridge or whatever it was, and you'd plot that on the map. They had a map just like ours,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd give us the coordinates, and we'd plot it, and they'd request how many rounds they wanted, or of course, first round was just a test, you know, and
Just to
then
see
you
where it hit.
adjusted from that, you know,
Sure.
forward 10 yards or drop a 10. But of course, they had different fuses for the artillery.
Mm-hmm.
Something that would explode, you know, time delay, or maybe even before it hits the ground.
Yeah, what they call an air burst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guess I've had some of them before.
Mm-hmm.
One time we was on there were about half a dozen of us on a truck, and we went down to one of the other batteries for some reason. Anyway, the crew, gun crew, went down and asked me if I wanted to go along, and I wasn't on duty, so I hopped on the truck and went with them. On the way back, it was an area that was just as flat as this table, and apparently they already had this zeroed in, because they apparently seen us coming. Just as we got there, they started shelling us.
Mm-hmm.
And the truck, the driver just slammed on the brakes and everybody bailed out. And everybody took off and running up towards a kind of an overhang there. And I thought, boy, that don't make any sense, being upright with some shells coming in. So I got about 100 feet from the truck, and I just hit the dirt, and I
Lay
just
down.
stayed there, and all you could picture is something coming right at you.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't, thank God. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
But we went on home. We was in this one area for about 6 months. Well, we moved one time when the Chinese was breaking through. We had to move over to help out. But anyway, we had bunkers set up there, and it was warm. In the wintertime, those bunkers were warm. Just had a
Yeah, logs or what? Sandbags?
covered up, it was logs,
Yeah.
it was covered up with, they took a dozer and covered everything
Harvest,
up.
yeah, you'd harvest
Yeah.
trees out of there,
Yeah,
and wherever you could find them, and make yourself a bunker by building it up with
yeah.
them.
Ours was right on a riverbank.
And
Yeah.
that's what we did. I mean, when we were up on the line, we used then when you were assigned to the bunker, you have those. If you made up, maybe it was already made by some other group that was there, but
I don't know who made these.
yeah,
it
and
wouldn't-
they shape up a bunker and
Yeah. when I
crawl
got
down,
there,
and,
they
and
was
part of
all-
it was in the earth,
already
in
set
below
up.
the earth, and you know.
But a bunker wouldn't take a direct hit, would it?
Yeah,
Oh, it would
well,
withstand
it'd maybe take one.
one. Okay, but basically it was to stop shrapnel and so forth from near misses, right?
Well, there was, near misses, but I think it would take a direct hit.
We had quite a bit of dirt packed up around and,
Yeah.
and sandbagged, and we'd have bags you banked up dirt into a bag and tied it up, and you stacked it up.
I think
Okay.
if the second one hit in the same place, I don't think it would.
I don't know how much gunfire
Pounding they would take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we had built them up with sandbags, and you
Yeah,
dug it up yourself. And the bad thing about it in the wintertime was that to find the material to build it with, you know,
Yeah,
Sure.
because the snow was bad,
yeah.
and
They would maybe 8 feet by 10 feet big. There'd be 8 of us guys in there.
Yeah. Try to
Or-
catch a little snooze or something. Have somebody on guard.
That's where we stayed.
Yeah.
You know, when he was off duty or
Off
sleeping.
duty, sure. Yeah.
But they was heated. We had little diesel
Burner.
stoves about that big around and maybe so tall.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Little valve there to adjust the flow of the
Oh,
diesel.
lean right over that. Huh?
Oh, you didn't need to. In fact, that's where we heated our bath water.
Oh, is
and
that
a
right?
helmet. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Because I went about 6 weeks without a shower over there, or longer.
Yeah,
Well,
longer for me. I recall because you just you put your long johns on and you kept them suckers on as long as you
Oh,
could.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it was long towards April. It was still pretty chilly out. Behind us, a few miles, the Army had brought up showers. I don't know if you ever experienced that or seen
Yeah,
any
we
of
had-
them or not.
We had
Huge tents.
yeah, we had a tent that was designed for with a shower head in it, and probably like 2 stalls, where 2 people could be in there at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was,
Oh, this was just wide open.
and otherwise it was wide open,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you say, wide open.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much in the summertime where we used that. We didn't have that in because you didn't have the option of
Hot water. yeah.
hot water and
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. But when the war ended, we had to move back, I don't know, a few miles. So they'd make the DMZ across there.
Sure.
And Christmas Day, well, before Christmas Day, a guy from the Signal Corps stopped by and says, "Hey, you want to go back and play Santa Claus to some little kids?" And I said, "Well, sure." So he and another guy got in his Jeep and went back someplace, and he had sacks of candy, little orange and candy, and we'd get out and I'll give that to these little kids, and I still got a picture of me doing that. And it was in the newspaper here at home. He'd sent it home. But it was,
What was that? Was that an orphanage or what? I mean,
I'm not sure. They was
About how
just,
many kids was there?
oh, I don't know. They just bring them out.
Just mob?
Yeah, I guess. I didn't really see all of them, but they would bring them out one at a time.
Oh, okay.
And, just for picture more than anything. Yeah.
I
Did all, excuse me, Walter, did all 3 of you then play Santa Claus?
Mhm.
3 different,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing while I was in. See the men, but I never saw any of the women or the children. It seemed like the men come up and they try to would come up towards where we were at, and they would try to plant their crop, do their rice paddies and their because I remember, as I think about it, I recall one time we were building pole line construction through this one guy's rice paddy field, and he was trying to teach us how to step in between his rice
Yeah,
plants.
don't ruin his race.
Don't ruin my rice paddy, my rice plants. And we'd have to step in there, and of course things had water in them, but the men, I don't know where the heck they stayed at, but they must have stayed behind somewhere further down, further south, but they would come up there in the early mornings hours, and they'd be working in their truck patch or whatever they call
My
it.
understanding was they had a home someplace, but then they just have a little one-man hut like someplace where their rice paddy would be, somewhere around that area.
Mhm.
They'd go up there
Well,
and
it could
stay
be,
and
but
farm.
yeah, I didn't. The huts that I saw, as I think about it, were some that had become abandoned because as the military moved north, all the South Koreans went back south somewhere, and you'd walk through where their living quarters was, and you wondered how they ever did it. How they.
Sure.
We're out of time already.
Oh, that went all right.
Yeah.
Where does it go?
So thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you see a veteran or someone in uniform, just walk up to them, say thank you for your service. Thank you, and good night.